Hari Om, bhajagovindam chanting verses 16 to 20.
अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ जुगुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षस्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः कुरुते गङ्गासागरगमनं व्रतपरिपालनमथवा दानम् ज्ञानविहीनः सर्वमतेन मुक्तिं न भजति जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्याभूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करमावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। For the man of wisdom, it doesn't make any difference whether he is the so-called spiritual activity or the so-called materialistic activity. Both are same for him. It doesn't make a difference whether he is with people or he is without people. Doesn't make a difference. But for a samsari, it makes a lot of difference. For a person who is in the world, it makes a difference. So remember, the rules will vary. You don't try to start practicing it, please. Here, this verse is referring to the man of perfection. So don't try to practice this straight away. He is referring to the state of perfection. It's like this. Now for the next 2 minutes, whatever I say, you write. No matter what I blather, it doesn't make any difference. Just write whatever I'm saying. It doesn't make any difference to a man of wisdom, whether he is in the spiritual path or in the materialistic path. Enough. All of you, those who wrote, and some of you did not write, it's okay. Now, how did you write? Isn't it? It's very interesting to see. As I'm speaking, you are just writing the things. and you look at your own writing now, doesn't matter how pathetic your handwriting is. That's okay. When you see this, how did you go about writing? But how did you learn to write? Man, M-A-N, man. There is a space between A and man. Keep a finger, isn't it? You remember? Mallika teacher told us, no, to keep that finger between. You have to keep a finger and then write the next one. Then perfection. Keep a finger again. Doesn't. Keep a finger again. Is any one of you doing it now? Did you do that when I said you write? You're just writing, right? It comes in the flow. This is after you have mastered writing skill, isn't it? But when you are in the process of learning, rules are very different. Remember that. Similarly, he is explaining the path one. What you have to do is one thing. And what is the state you reach is a different thing. So don't try to practice verse 19, please. Verse 19 is a test. That's about it. Test to know whether you are in the spiritual perfection is achieved or not. To what, how close you are to that. To know that you can use this verse. But don't try to practice this. A lot of people have started practicing this. You know, and they quote scriptures also. He only says, no, it doesn't make any difference. Whether I am here or I am there. All that matters is, where is your mind? Yasya brahmani ramate chittam. In the mind, I am thinking about God. But where are you sitting? In the pub. It's like to a bartender, you keep saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. You have to go that and tell your wife, I love you, your relationship will get better. Chances of divorce will come down. If you keep telling that, bartender, I love you, your relationship will not get strengthened, please. There's a good chance your relationship with the bartender will get better. Your wife will go. Why? It doesn't work. You see, what you have to do when you are in the learning phase is different from what you do after you master, after growth. After you have learned, what you do is totally different. Now in this verse 19, Shankara is explaining the state of perfection. Don't try to practice it, please. A lot of people will try to practice this. This is not for practice. However, I did mention, they do give certain indications for us. You see, certain indications will be given for us when they are explaining that state of perfection. What we have to understand here, sir, all that you have to apply here, derive is, just because you are in the spiritual path, you are not there is not the point. It is not what you do that matters. With what attitude that you do. It's not what you do. In spiritual equations, life, it's very different. It is not what is said. It is who says it. Makes a difference. Only when Vivekananda says, sisters and brothers of America, there is a value. If you go and say sisters and brothers of America, nothing will happen. You will not get a standing ovation. He will get a standing ovation. You will not get it. Why is that? It's because Vivekananda. It's not in the words, please. You see, you can imitate. You can also borrow, opening lines. or every speech. When you try to prepare a speech, always we see in the schools and colleges, any congregations you go to, there will be a person to uh, the the boy or a girl will be there to compare the entire thing. So every time they come in, they will give one quotation. They will read out something which nobody will hear. Have you ever seen? Next time when you go, you see that. Nobody will hear that. But it's such a profound message given by that man or that woman. When they gave it out, there's a profound message. When Shelley says, in other man's fate, I weep my own. It's beautiful. Yes. When Shelley says, there is beauty to it. You see, it is who says it. It's not just words, please. That's why when Ramana says, who am I? There is a punch. There's a power in that. When Kenopanishad master says, Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate, there is a power in that thing. When we quote, it has nothing. It's so flat. There's nothing in that. Why is that? It's the being that brings about the whole thing. It's not the words, please. We think it's the words. It's not the words. It is who says that. What is the state of that person? That is critical. Otherwise, it looks very flat. You see. So, in the spiritual path, what you have to understand is equations are very different. In the state, you have full freedom. You can do anything. And the scriptures go to the extent of giving examples, scaring. If a man were to kill his own mother, no sin for this fellow. If he kills his own mother, no sin. For whom, sir? For whom? For a fellow who is in that state. For him it is not. Now, immediately we can't take that. And he gives, series of examples they give. I'm just giving one example. I don't want to give other examples. If I give other examples, most of you will take that as an excuse. Because a lot of that we do. You see, so you got to be careful. It doesn't make any difference for him. Remember, not for you. So, whether I am in this company or whether I am in that company, doesn't make a difference. That is not meant for you, please. It is meant only for that fellow. But however, the important aspect here you have to pay attention to is not the first two lines, or rather the first line. You have to take the second line. Most of us pay attention to the first line. Yogaratova, Bhogaratova, Sangaratova, Sangavihina. Whether I am here or there, whether I am with company or without company, doesn't make a difference. That's not the point. The essential dimension we pick up here is Brahmani Ramate Chittam. Are you thinking of Brahman? That's the point. To what extent you are able to think of God? Do you have the thought of divinity? Is it there in you? Is the point. Now, how much of that is happening in you? Investigate. Don't worry about other things. Now, essential dimension of this man is his mind is anchored on the self. Now, your mind is anchored where now? Your mind is anchored on the external things. My mind is anchored on the external aspects, and his mind is anchored on the self. and he operates. Mind is anchored on the external expressions. And this one. So he says, don't give too much of importance to the external. Turn introvert. Look within. In terms of where is your thoughts? What are you thinking? All the time your thinking is what? What he is doing, what she is doing. Why he did this, why he didn't do this. Why she did this, why she didn't do this. Why she did this in this way, why she didn't do it in that way. Beyond that, do you think anything? The moment we say, immediately you turn introvert, immediately you start thinking in terms of what? Did I do it properly? Did I do it properly? I should have done it like that. Again, you are thinking outside only. Whether it is somebody's action or your action analysis is not spiritual. Then what is spiritual, sir? Thought analysis. What was your thought? Are you conscious of what you have as a thought? That is critical. Now for us, that is not important. For us, what the other person does, in fact, for most of us, not the person does is also. The result is more important. That's why in the cricket match, commentary will differ based on the effect, isn't it? If Sheva goes for a 6 in 96 lofted shot and he hits a 6, the commentator will say what? See, Sheva plays a natural game. Correct. If he goes for a lofted shot and gets out, gets caught in the boundary line, then what he will say? Such an irresponsible fellow. 96, just tap and take 2 singles and 3 singles and get that century and then go for a slogging. No. He is a set batsman. New batsman arrived is more difficult to score runs. Irresponsible fellow. It's not a batsmanship at all. Commentary will vary based on what, sir? Based on the effect, not the result, not the work, effort. Now, to move from result to process itself is an extraordinary thing for most of us. That's what we say, karmanyevadikaraste mahapale sukadhachana. Correct. Your right is only on action, not on the fruit. This itself you think is spiritual. You say, no, that's only the first step. Keep a finger and then write. Keep a finger and write. Keep a finger and write. Otherwise you cannot. That is the rule, initial step. But you can't keep doing that right through your life and say, right through my life, I'm going to keep my finger faster and keep writing. That's not the way you write. You've got to learn to jump out. Now he says, move beyond that. What is that, sir? No longer you analyze somebody's action or you analyze your action. Then what you should do, sir? Start analyzing the thought behind the action. The moment you go to the thought behind the action, straight away it would be impossible for you to go to the thought behind the action of another person. Now I am teaching this. You can judge my action. You can never judge, you can never analyze, you can never process, you can never reason out and figure out what is my thought behind this action of teaching. Impossible. It's not difficult, I'm saying. Mark my words carefully. It is not difficult, it is impossible. At best, you can guess. At best, you can do a informed guess. That's about it. Wild guess or informed guess. That's about it. But you can never conclusively conclude and say this is what it is. This is his attitude. This is his thought. Based on this only, for this only, he is doing this action. You can never say that. If you have to go to the thought behind action, external is impossible. Only internal is possible. And internally, when you start the process of investigation, you get to know your mind is anchored where. If that anchoring were to be on the self, you are happy. If your anchoring is on the world, you will be disturbed. You can never find peace, harmony by the external. It is not possible. So he's only asking us to shift the focus. Now, most people will get carried away by the first line, thinking, oh, it has got nothing to do with all this. I am there, you are there. So what? No, that's not the case, please. You go to temple, I go to office. Both are same. No, they are not same. You see, you go to Vedanta class, I go to my club. You like Vedanta class, you go. I like club, I go. What is the difference? All matters is what? People quote this verse. In fact, maximum is abuse of this quotation only. It doesn't make a difference, man, what I am doing. It doesn't make a difference. It all matters. No, it matters a lot in the initial stages. But then don't get stuck there. You have to jump. So the essential criterion here is to figure out what is your thought behind the action. The thought transformation. Your mind should shift its focus from the fruit to process, to action, to effort, effect to effort. First step. Second step is from action to attitude, the thought. So there is an attitude, action, effect, fruit. Now, where is your focus? What are you thinking about always? Where is your attention? If your attention is on the fruit, maximum agitation. If your attention is where to be on action, minimum agitation, but nevertheless there will be agitation. But it is so minimal, so negligible, so subtle, you would not be able to recognize it so easily. You won't see it. You see. Then you go to the thought behind that action itself. Thought behind that thought behind that thinking, thought behind that emotion, thought behind that action. Understood? All three. That's what he says 3 times. Happy, happy, happy. Why he says 3 times that? Because at all 3 levels, your concentration, when you are performing an action, when you are entertaining an emotion, when you are thinking, what is the thought behind the thinking? What is the thought behind that emotion? What is the thought behind that action? If that thought were to be Brahman or the idea of Brahman, the goal of realization, the ideal, a higher ideal, then you will be happy. If it is anything other than that, happiness will not come. If happiness is not there, means what else is there? It's not vacuum, please. If you are not happy, you are agitated. That's all. There is no neutral in life. Either you are happy or you are agitated. Now you have to define, you have to decide where are you going to be. This man of perfection is blissful. That's what Krishna says in the Gita. Ashantasya kutas sukham, he says. The agitated fellow, how can he be happy in life? It's not possible. That's what Shankara gives here in verse 19. Continuing, verse 20. Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakartapiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasyayamena Nacharcha. He who has studied the Bhagavad Gita even a little, drunk a little drop of Ganges water, worship Murari at least once, he has no contention with Yama, Lord of Death. This is given, supposed to have been given out by another disciple of Shankara called Dhrida Bhakti. We don't have any information, anything more than that. We just know his name, that's about it. More than that, we don't know much about this person. Now he gives the practice. What you have to do, he gives now. This is for you to follow. Verse 19 is not for you to follow, for you to do anything. What you have to follow is given in verse 20. In 20, he gives beautifully, he gives 3 disciplines. One at the level of action, physical. One at the level of emotion, mind. One at the level of intellect. Intellectual discipline, emotional discipline, physical discipline. Physical discipline means action discipline. Now, 3 disciplines he gives beautifully. Gives. The first one is he who has studied the Bhagavad Gita even a little. So you have to study Bhagavad Gita. How much, sir? Kinchit, he says. He's not even saying entire Bhagavad Gita. Yes. At least study Bhagavad Gita fully. Not necessary. A little of Bhagavad Gita is sufficient. Now don't take it literally only Bhagavad Gita. Now a lot of people have taken, oh, he says Bhagavad Gita, why sir? Therefore, he means scripture, that's all. And why Bhagavad Gita, sir? Because Bhagavad Gita has a unique combination. That's why they refer to Bhagavad Gita more. Regularly it is referred, Bhagavad Gita. To represent this is because Bhagavad Gita is one text which gives you Brahma Vidya, also Yoga Shastra. Since it is a textbook of Brahma Vidya, also the book of Yoga Shastra, it gives us he is using the text as a reference point. Brahma Vidya means knowledge of Brahman. It gives you that knowledge of Brahman. Yoga Shastra means it gives you the ways and means to reach that Brahman. So it gives you 2 things. It gives you the destination, also the path. Since it is giving both, Bhagavad Gita is treated as an important textbook, referred as an authoritative text. There are 3 authoritative texts we have for Vedanta Shastra. Here, the 3 books are very important. Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, and Upanishads. This Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita, these 3 are considered as Prasthanatraya, means authority. The 3 authoritative texts. So he is taking one as an example to refer to all collectively. All that scriptural textbooks you can study. And you have the freedom to pick up anything you want. There is no rule that you have to study only this text or that text, please. It's referred. Why this reference is because of this combination. A beautiful blend of fusing both and giving. Before Bhagavad Gita, these two books were standing independently. There is a Brahma Vidya textbook separate, Yoga Shastra textbooks are separate. Like Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, and you take Brahma Sutra. In Brahma Sutra, there is no method, what you have to do, how you should go about, what are the stages, steps, what you should do, nothing is there. This is Brahman, that's all explanation. This is Samsara, this is Brahman, this is Moksha, this is this, that's it. Upanishads don't explain the methodology and all that. They just state the facts. They state the truth and walk out. How to go there, they don't explain. What am I to do, sir? They don't explain. That's not their job. They say, move. You got to figure it out. And then we have the textbook like Yoga Sutra. Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is there. There is a lot of explanations in terms of what you can do and how you can go about, what all the things will happen on the way, what all the obstacles are there, how do you overcome those obstacles, how do you recognize your growth. So many aspects explained in there. But there is no Brahma Vidya. You see, that is not given there. The accent is more on the effort side. The accent here is on the effect. What is that state of Brahman? Brahma Vidya, that's it, knowledge. They just give you the knowledge and they say knowledge is sufficient enough into itself. And they go. This is one group. This Bhagavad Gita is a text, first text to fuse the two and give it in a digestible format. Therefore, he takes Bhagavad Gita as a reference point. Don't take it literally, only he is referring to Bhagavad Gita. So study the scriptures. What you have to do, sir? You have to study that. Bhagavad Gita, a little. What you have to do, sir? Adita. Means studied. Bringing that knowledge that is embedded in the text to your understanding, to your intellect. It is there. But remember, the wisdom that is available in the scriptures, the wisdom that is carried by those masters, when it transmitted to you, it gets transmitted not as wisdom, it gets transmitted as knowledge, as information. Wisdom of Buddha is available only for Buddha. Wisdom of Buddha you will not be able to get by any number of times you can study Dhampada. You will never get that wisdom. You will get only the knowledge. When the wisdom of that man gets transferred to you, it becomes knowledge. It becomes information. Wisdom cannot be transmitted. Wisdom can become a source of inspiration to you. But wisdom cannot be transferred. If wisdom can be transferred, by now the whole world would be all Buddhas walking around. Buddhas and Mirabais only will be there. The world. It's very easy to do it. But you cannot transfer it. Why? Buddha says, what is this? Samsara, life is painful. When you read that, what do you get? Life is painful. You will agree to Buddha only when you go through a problem in life, when you read Buddha, you will agree, yes, Buddha is correct. You go and give that, quotation on somebody's birthday, wedding anniversary. You take that and give them, life is painful, and give them. You'll throw it on your face. You see, he would not. Why? He is in that he is going through a very, very good time. When he is enjoying, when he is going through a good time, you go and tell him life is painful. What nonsense you are talking. So your agreement to Buddha or your disagreement to that statement has got nothing to do with your understanding of the statement. Those who have problems in life will agree with Buddha straight away. That's why today Buddhism has started gaining a lot of importance. Why, sir? Because the whole world is painful, suffering. Everybody is depressed. Everybody is stressed. Everybody is strained. Therefore, when Buddha comes and says life is painful, your experience also validates that, and you say what? Yeah, correct. Buddha is correct. Therefore, Buddhist teachings and all that has a tremendous appeal. Now, that appeal is not because you have understood the value of it, please. The wisdom. No. When he says Adita, means you have to study. Means you got to convert that information to your understanding. You have to transfer that into your intellect, not into your memory. When you read that Bhagavad Gita, what happens is it becomes part of your memory over a period of time. When I am talking to you, this talk is 90% of it is memory. Isn't it? Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasada. You'll say what? Wow, super Ishvara. What is it? Memory. That has nothing to do. Why? You keep repeating it some 20 times, you repeat, 30 times, you repeat, you will memorize it. That's all. It will be in your mind. It doesn't get transferred to your intellect. Remember, you have got two equipments called manas and buddhi. When you are getting that information from outside, that information comes and settles in your mind first. It becomes part of your memory system. And then you keep juggling around. Like the words, the entire vocabulary of English language that I carry with me stays in my memory. And I process that and bring out those words and create a sentence to my memory of grammar. But it's happening so fast, it looks just happening. That's about it. You see, otherwise, we have to struggle. That's why when you try to learn a new language, we struggle to form a sentence. We just utter a word here, a word there. You see, why? Because it has not yet become part of my memory system. Once it becomes part of my memory, what the sportsman call as muscle memory. When the sportsman is striking the ball, it's coming at a speed. You have got just a fraction of a second. You're not even having a full 1 second for you to calculate. Make a calculation. Yes, the ball is coming. The shine is in this phase. And he is holding it like this. And his fingers are in this position. Therefore, it must be an outswinger. And now this outswinger, if I have to bat, what I have to do? There is a batsman, there is a fielder in the gully, and there is an extra cover, there is a cover, and there is a deep cover. Now what I have to do? Go for a square cut. Because the third man, there is no slip. So I have a gap there. Is he going to think all that? There is a time for him to think all that. Then how he is playing, how he is placing, how that is happening to him, what they call as muscle memory. How that muscle memory comes, keep on net practice. More and more of that practice becomes part not of his brain. It becomes part of the muscle, they say. You see, it's not that, you put your finger in fire, you take it out. No. That command is not given by brain. You know that. Because there is no time we have for the stimulus to go up to brain, process, conclude, and send back the signal saying, take your hand out. That's too much of a time. We can't afford to waste. Therefore, nature has given that ingrained certain reflexes, certain things were provided to the muscles. There, by practice, you keep adding that. Same way you can do with the thought also. You borrow that knowledge. So when you study Bhagavad Gita, I'm not talking about memorizing the chanting of Bhagavad Gita, please. That doesn't mean memorization is useless. That's not what I'm saying. Again, memorization has a tremendous value. Many of us, nowadays in this modern education, we are saying, memory is not good, memory is not enough, no, memory is not enough is correct. But memory is the foundation on which you can build a castle of understanding. If your memory is weak, it's difficult for you to build that castle. But castle is not this. It's a foundation. So memorization, if you can memorize the entire Bhagavad Gita, memorize it. Nothing wrong in it, please. But all that we have to understand is that memorization of the chanting, or today people say memorization of chanting is wrong, but I will memorize a quotation. That is also memory only. What is it? Borrowed. Informations borrowed and then made a chivda, and we call that as creativity, originality. Nowadays we have another group of people are coming now. Whatever I am teaching to you people is not from the Gita, it is not from the scriptures. I am teaching out of my own. If anybody starts his talk like that, I change the YouTube channel, because this guy doesn't understand a word of what he's speaking. It's absolute blabbering. Why? I say, I have not studied anything. And then I was hearing one day, the fellow was giving a lecture on Mahabharata. I said, he only said that day he did not study anything. Whatever he is teaching is his own. He did not study Bhagavad Gita, but he was studying Stephen Covey. So Stephen Covey is bigger than Krishna. Is more, greater than Krishna. Please remember, it is impossible that you are going to be presenting something to the world which you have not heard or studied anywhere. Somewhere down the line you must have. But then, study by itself is not sufficient. You have to transfer that into, there is a critical phase we have to go through. That is why spiritual learning, we say there are two stages it goes through. Stage one is receiving that wisdom. But when you receive it, it will not come to you as wisdom, it will come to you as knowledge, as information. You receive that information, and then that information needs to be processed and converted into wisdom. Again, it will get converted into wisdom. Okay. Two steps. This is what is referred in the scriptures as Shravanam and Mananam. Shravanam is a state where you receive the information through listening or reading. Doesn't make a difference. Right now, you are listening. You take a book and read, you are reading. So either through listening or through reading, you receive the information. There is a problem there. most of us start believing more the information I carry, varied the information that I carry, I have this wisdom. No. More the information you carry, what will happen, sir? That's what Ram Tirtha says. It's like mule carrying gold. A mule were to be carrying gold, what is it for the mule? It's a burden. You see, with that information, I will be able to help everyone, but that information will not insulate me. What is the proof? Even if you are Sigmund Freud, you are susceptible for paranoid. You can be, Sir William James, still you will get depressed. That knowledge of psychology, psychiatry will never insulate you from depression. Question is why? But it helps everybody. With the knowledge that I carry on psychology, I am able to help everyone. But why is it that I am not able to derive help out of it? What is the problem, sir? A chartered accountant cannot be going to another chartered accountant for filing his returns. Isn't it? It doesn't work like that. A lawyer cannot be engaging another lawyer for arguing a case for himself. No. If I can do it, I should be able to deal with my own also. But don't ask me immediately, what about the surgeon, sir? Surgeon can't operate himself. Okay. So, you can't say, why not? Orthopedic surgeon is there. Now, if he has a fracture, he can't say that I will do surgery on my own. I have to do a knee replacement surgery. I will do myself now. No, that is not possible. See? But when it comes to this knowledge of life, why can't it insulate you? You have the knowledge. You have that understanding, but still, why you are not able to do it? Because it is just standing at the level of your memory system, which is what we call as intelligence. It just stays as intelligence. It has not yet got converted into wisdom. Now that conversion process is the catch. Now, that's what the Upanishad says. Swadhyaya na pramadaha says. One of the instructions given in Taittiriya, convocation address, as it were. The Guru gives a convocation address to the students. That's where he gives that famous things, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, and all that he says. No, these things are all popular. But there he gives this also. What does it say? Swadhyaya na pramada. Says, do not ever become indifferent towards swadhyaya, self-study. This study, never leave that. He says, continue with your study. How much? A little. Now, when he says a little, is a very interesting idea. What he means by little is, at a time, a little. That's all. The problem for most of us is, we get over enthusiastic about it and start cramming so much of information. No, it won't work. That's why he gives a beautiful example of how this whole wisdom comes about is exactly like this experiment we do in chemistry, titration. The potassium permanganate, they use drops. I don't remember. I don't have to read because I am only a commerce student. You know, chemistry student should know. You know, but it has to drop. And he says what? It'll drop by drop. And most of the time, the students don't have that patience. So what they do, sir? They open that a little more, will fall. And suddenly the color will change. But the problem is what? You can't complete the experiment and know at what point it had happened. See? It's a very interesting experimentation. It drops. It's a colorless one. There is no color in the collection one. Also, there is no color in the dropping. And drops. Suddenly, one drop, the whole thing becomes pink. How? Every drop counts. Don't say the last drop is the most important drop, sir. No. Every drop is important. From the very first drop to the last drop. That 84th drop. But it has to go through the process of what? That 84th drop to work, 83 drops should have happened. Up to that 83 drops, what is the state? Absolutely nothing. Titration, beautiful example. He says, Ramtirtha gives a fantastic example. He says exactly like that. A little by little. The problem we have is, I want that wisdom, I want to collect it en bloc. The whole thing I should get in one day. That's what all of us attempt. Buddha collected his wisdom over 6 years of tapas, effort. And he has completely exhausted all possible methods that is known in the world during his time. Every master, anyone who had talked about spiritual growth, moksha, liberation, freedom, he followed them to the T. And he has tried everything. And he was so frustrated and so irritated. And he was sitting under a tree one night. One man was passing by that side. Why are you looking so tensed? Chill, man. Relax. And that's the time he realized, my God, what am I doing? He relaxed and slept. We thought he is doing meditation. Meditation, in relaxation, he went off to sleep. He woke up enlightened. You can also go to that Bodhi tree. Right? Full moon night. Relax. Sleep. Meditate. You will not become Buddha. Why? That's 84th drop. Now, you are in the first drop only. Now you think the first drop itself should be the 84th drop for you. And that's what Shankara says here. A little by little. How you should do that? Little by little. Collect. Study the Bhagavad Gita a little. You don't need too much. You don't need a lot of information. Take an information, convert that, process it. You will get exhausted. Leave. Take the next. Apply. you will get so tired and so exhausted. You know, that's the secret of wisdom. That's the secret of inspiration. That's the secret of enlightenment. This is the secret of creativity. This is the secret of success in life. Remember this. There is no other method. What is it, sir? Exhaust all your efforts. Get tired. Like this, the physical trainer says, no, exercise, push up, run, 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 run. You will get so tired. You will feel almost you are going to faint and collapse. That's the time he will say, do one more. You've seen that? He'll say, push up. He'll say, no way. He says, do three more. That's all. Count down. 3, 2, 1. 3 more. That's all you have to do. Nothing more. Nothing more. Only 3 we have to do, is it? And first 3 is very different. Now, how do you build? Sir? You have to reach the point of exhaustion, fatigue, completely tired. Then stretch a bit. That's what he means by a little. A little, when he says, when is that little, sir? You don't catch. People thought a little he only says, no, so what I have to do? All that I have to do is what? Learn one verse from Bhagavad Gita. What is it? Karmanyevadikaraste. That's all. Or else, anashrita karma palam karyam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. He only says, no, drop everything and surrender to me. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. If that's what he wants him to do, he should have said that in the first verse itself, no? Why he has to ashochanan bashochastvam prajna? Unnecessarily start everything. And then he says what? Drop it. Anyway, if you are going to drop, why begin all this, man? No. It has to be told then only. It cannot be told in the beginning. Why, sir? It is not possible. It will not work. When it will work, sir, you have to put in effort. Effort. Study, think, reason, analyze, reflect. Process. Investigate. A point would come where you get so tired of thinking. Little more you do. That is a time you should read this Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, kinchita dita. How do you have to do what? Do a little more, man. That's all you have to do. Yes. Only then wisdom will come. If you take it in the beginning itself and say, I'm going to do a little. That's what one fellow asked Osho. Beautiful answer by Osho. One fellow asked Osho, when will I get moksha? How will I get moksha? He said, what's a hurry? Why do you want to disturb my business? Bhagavad Gita, kinchidadita. What do you have to do, sir? Little by little you study. Why? First thing you should learn is to retain your customer. Getting a customer is not a problem. You see, salesman, businessman success is not in getting a customer. A good salesman is one who can retain a customer. You see, retain. How you retain, sir? Kinchidadita. What you have to do? Study a little. Don't read too much. If you read too much, then I am in trouble. Why? I have to read more than that. Ayyo. That and all I can't do. So what I have to do is that? Kinchidadita. Please. You can interpret it like that also. But it's a fascinating one. Bhagavad Gita, kinchit. Yes, that kinchit is my favorite here. Now, I was thinking a lot, why is he saying little? Study Bhagavad Gita, say no. Is it? Now, why you have to quantify that? Don't say you have to read the full Bhagavad Gita. Don't say a little. Don't read exhaustive. Don't say, why you have to say all that? Just say study. No. Problem solved. That's not what he says. Exactly the same thing he puts for the next two also. How much of Ganges water? He says, drink a drop of Ganges water. Enough. One drop. And then what? Worship Murari. How many times? At least once. Once you have to say, what? Oh God. Oh God. This is the problem. Says a little. Now, what he is referring to is the three things. Whether it is an intellectual discipline, or whether it is an emotional discipline, or it is a physical discipline, action discipline, all that, when you are putting effort, there will come a point. You see, that's what happens to all the scientists, all the discoveries and inventions. How did it happen? Madame Curie, she writes in her biography, autobiography, she writes, and she says she was struggling with a problem, it seems, to solve for 3 years. For 3 years she was struggling with that problem, trying to find an answer. And she got so frustrated and so annoyed. Hell with this. And she had, a maid coming to her house because she is engaged in this problem solving. She could not pay attention to all that. So she called the maid and said, from tomorrow you don't have to come because I'm closing my work. So I'm free now. I will take care of my own things. You can go back. I sent, and she closed, all the books. She packed everything and put it up in the loft. Previous day itself. And the desk was clean. And she went to sleep. And next day morning she woke up. She went to her desk. She saw a paper with a pen on that. There was a solution answered on that paper. And first thing she did was she got so scared, she says. Maybe some ghost came and wrote the answer. Solution to the problem was there. And to her shock, she saw it was her own handwriting. So she is the one who has wrote the answer also for that. Then how is it happened? And she writes, now I knew the secret of solving all the problems. What is the secret? Put in that effort, put in that effort, put in that effort, put in that effort, and then drop it. Then drop. Now you don't put in any effort, or you put in the lukewarm effort and say, I'm going to drop. Nothing will come. You got to drop the fruit, drop that sense of effort that I am doing it, I have to solve it. All that you have to drop when? After you have reached that point, you would get so fatigued and tired. Then do a little and drop it, man. It's superb one. There's a beauty about that kinchit. Rest are all story only. There was, rest are all just stories. At least for me. What is interesting in the verse is, why does he say little? Why does he say little for everything? Little study, little this, little that. So obviously his accent is where on? Not on that karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. In this verse, he is giving accent only on that little. Little is enough. Then I thought, I have overdone actually. Why? I have studied Mahabharata, I have studied Ramayana, I have studied Bhagavad Gita, I have studied Upanishads, I have studied Vedanta treatise, I have studied this, I have studied that, and I have also completed the 3-year course. And we have done this e-learning also. Everything I have done. Oh, maybe I have done too much. But little is enough. Oh, the little has a lot of implications there. A little. How much? For you to know the taste of honey, you don't have to drink the whole, thing. Take a spoon and put it in your mouth, you know the taste of it. You don't have to taste the whole thing. A little is sufficient. What is spiritual, sir? A little you get the taste of this knowledge, taste of the devotion, taste of the selfless action. Just have to get a taste of it. Taste of that suspicion, taste of that reflection is sufficient enough for you to feel it. There is not much is needed. See, if you have to live life, remember, you don't require the entire Bhagavad Gita. Your life can be lived on one idea, sufficient. Everything will get added on to it. It gets added on. You don't have to worry about it. Just get that one thing. Just get that one note. Just try to master that one raga. That's enough. And this my master says, Tansen, he says, I am nobody, nowhere near my guru, he says. So Akbar and, Tansen's, Akbar asks him, then why did you call your guru and ask him to play in our, this one? You think he's Tansen? Please. Tansen will do all this. My guru will not do all that. But if you want to hear him, you have to go. He says, hey, I am the Shah man, I am the Lord of all these fellows. Now, you want me to go there? He said, if you want to listen, go there, or else forget it. And this man said, okay, let's go. So he went there. And this man started singing in the night. They didn't know when he will start. He was sitting there, he was simply sitting, and suddenly he started. Raman. He started. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's all. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Whole night he was singing only that. And Akbar couldn't believe someone can sing that same thing. And still, he never felt enough. Akbar didn't feel that's enough. He said, sing more. No, sing more, he says. From where it comes? When Tansen sings, that's not what he used to say. Hey, sing another song, man. He'll say, sing another song. Hey, so beautifully you're singing. Why don't you sing that song? Why don't you sing this song? When Rama is singing, what was he doing, sir? He said, now you understood the difference between me and him. He said, yes. How did he do, man? He doesn't know any other song. He asked him, what is it? He doesn't know anything else. He knows what? Only that one song he knows. But that one song he can keep singing rest of his life. You will not get bored. You see, amazing that is. That is a master. What is it, sir? Just a little. You don't require too many things. Just a little is enough. But the little has to come from within you. You see that? Not from outside. Even if that little comes from within, it speaks by itself. See you next class. Hari Om.